Hi, everybody. I am back to posting. It's been a long, long time, and I know that I've been negligent. Um, However, let's dive right in. So, we are going to go over today how to do third position shift um, using the D inside of a D major scale, two octaves. So, let me first explain very quickly what third position is, and then we're going to go right into it. So when you learn to play the violin, you start by learning to put your first finger down in a place kind of like here. This is called first position. As you go all the way to the fourth finger, you will see that there's an entire fingerboard here, part of the fingerboard that you have not played on yet, and those are notes. The way that we reach those notes is by going into what we call higher positions. Shifting is what we call it. So right now you know first position. The next position technically is the second position, but we're going to the third because this is going to give us more range to get into the third position. So if you were to put your first finger where your second finger was, we call that second position. If you were to put your first finger where your third finger was, we call that third position. If you put your first finger where your fourth finger was, we call that fourth position. And you can keep going up to fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and so on until you get all the way to the end of the fingerboard. We're not going that far, but I just thought I'd give you a brief, quick explanation. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is to get you familiar with the sound of the note you're going to shift to. You're going to shift to D on the A string. And that note is this note. So the way we're going to reach that note is first we're going to practice going up the fingerboard in first position, starting with the A, then to B, then to C sharp, and then to D. Still in first position, so it will sound like this. Join me. Okay, so of course you can pause and do that again as many times as you need to. The next thing we do is we add the shift to that. Now, a couple of really important things about shifting. Of course, this is just a quick tutorial. This will not replace a private lesson or, your teacher's expertise. But for those of you who need some additional help, this is just to give you that little boost. So when you shift, you need to keep your hand in contact with the fingerboard. So don't do this, jumping back and forth. You want to kind of slide. Also, your first finger and your thumb should always be across from each other when you shift. So that means you don't want this and you don't want this. Do you see where my thumb is? You want the whole hand to move as one unit. Okay? So now instead of going to the third finger, we're going to go third finger first and then to the first finger. So the first time we do it in first position, then the second time we do it, we shift. We're going to repeat that ad nauseum, however many times you need to. So right now we'll do it about 5 or 6 times. So we do A, B, C sharp, D. Now get ready to shift. Shift. First position. Now third position. Now I want you to freeze in that spot. Now you're in third position and you're going to continue to ascend. Now you're going to play the scale. So D is the first note of the scale. You're going to play, the second octave, but the first note of the second octave. So you're going to play D. The next note you need to play is E, like the open E string, but you're going to use the second finger. See the space between my fingers? And then F sharp, also space. That's a whole step. And then you're going to do a half step to G. As you can see, those are close together. So let's do those notes without stopping. D, E, F sharp, and G. Again, D, E, sharp, and G. Again. Last time. Stop there. Now, I'm having you keep your fingers down because if you don't, you kind of get lost because you're not familiar with this position yet. So once you get familiar with the position, you can start to take fingers off the fingerboard. But for right now, let's keep everything down. So now you're just going to hop the first finger over to the E string, but you're staying in third position. That's the high A. You see? I just moved it over. And then you just move your fingers up the exact same way you did on the A string. You go to B, second finger, C sharp, third finger, and then to D. Let's try that again. So A, B, C sharp, and D. One more time. A, B, C sharp, and D. Now you're going to come down the scale. Repeat that note. D, C sharp, B, A. Fourth finger goes on the A string, you stay in position. And then third finger goes next to it. And then second finger has some space. Now if you notice, my first finger is still down on the E string because I'm just trying to make sure I don't get lost on the fingerboard. Then I just hop my first finger over for the D. Okay? So that's how you get back down the scale. So let's just practice that octave, okay? We're gonna do slow half notes. Ready, and third finger, half step. Now hop your first finger over, and then third, and then half step. Repeat that note. Now to the G, fourth finger on E, F sharp, and then D. Okay, so to make that scale 2 octaves, this is how we're going to put it together. We're going to start on the D string, open D. We're going to go up like we normally do, using the fourth finger on the D string note for the A. Then we're going to shift into third position and walk all the way up the scale, and then we're going to walk down the scale. I'm going to show you how to get back down the scale before we do that. Now when you're here on the A string and you have to shift back down, you're going to take your whole hand back to first position, which was here, but you're going to shift to the second finger, the C sharp. So take a look at that again. So just practice doing that without the bow a few times. And of course, as always, you can pause there so that you can take your time to do it. Okay, so now I'm going to do the entire scale with you, and then you're on your own from there. All right, so we're going to do half notes, nice low bows. By the way, I'm leaning into the camera just so that you can see better. I don't ever want you to lean like this when you play, but I want you to be able to see what my left hand is doing. I couldn't figure out exactly what's the right angle, so this one I think you can see the best. So here we go. This is the D major scale. D major has 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. It's 2 octaves because we go from D to D twice, and we are shifting into third position on the scale, in the scale. All right, here we go. And of course, post any questions you have in the comments. If you found this helpful, post that. If you thought my pacing was too slow or too fast, post that, because ultimately I do this so that you can have a easier time, and I want feedback. Okay, so here we go. 1, starting on open D. 1, 2, 3, 4. D, F sharp, fourth finger. And here's our shift. Shift. Repeat that note. To G, F sharp. And we shift down, nice and smooth. Open A. And okay, I hope that that was helpful. I think there might have been a couple little mistakes. Just a reminder, I'm not perfect. Sometimes I make mistakes, but I think mostly it's good and it should be helpful to you. Please, again, give me feedback and happy practicing.